Hey everyone, it's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue here for today's Cricut chat. Boy, I have been so busy, but I'm so excited about today's chat because I want to talk a little bit about insert cards and some of the variations, and especially about embossing. This turned into this, except different color. But this turned into this, and all because I used an embossing folder, and I have brought my Sizzix. This is older than the hills, and I thought this project is great for people who own the Joy, but not just for Joy owners. So I wanted to, just kind of let you know this is going to be a little bit of Joy and a little bit of hand doing things, and how you can sort of make this. I don't like this little tiny piece right there, but how you can make some pretty amazing cards with without the big machines, or by hand, or using it for embellishing with the big machines. Okay, I know it's kind of a big topic, and I hope I'm not all over the place today with it, but there's a lot that people have mentioned to me. Apparently, a lot of people, older people, I don't want to say older, but people who have been scrapbooking and making cards for a very long time have given me some great advice and ideas about embossing, and I am reminded about some other things. You don't get the notifications. I can't account for Facebook, but anyway, so there's a lot to go over here, and what I'm reminded about is that there are a lot of really new people who have never seen this stuff, and then there are a lot of people who have seen it, and they haven't tried it yet. I'm sorry, that have seen it, but they haven't done it in a long time. So this is for everyone. Everyone, I think, can meet on all different sides. But before we get started, I wanted to just do a couple of just sort of check-ins about different things. So today's Wednesday. Tomorrow we're going to do just a straight card. So all of you card lovers can join me tomorrow to talk about cards. We're going to do a really cute card, and that's from Cricut Design Space. And then I thought on Friday, since it's starting to feel like summer is coming, I thought that we could do this, which is a 3D file. It is from Lori. I know, Shirley, everybody was saying that. So I'm taking this off because I want you to see, but it is a 3D pineapple. It's very similar. It reminds me, I got this wrong, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. It reminds me of the egg diorama. So for all those people that really loved the egg diorama, we'll be doing this. I'm not sure if this can be done on the Joy. I'd have to check the file, but as you know, Lori's site is, there's an advertisement. Oh, I don't know anything about advertisements. I don't control any of that. Hi, Emmy. So on Friday, we'll be doing this little number. It's a pineapple, 3D pineapple. I guess it's a box because the top opens, but it's just a really cute, it's a really cute 3D project for 3D Friday. So we'll do that on Friday. I haven't decided what to do for Saturday night yet, but so just so you know, for the rest of the week. So today we're going to be talking about both embossing using a like a die cut machine. Oh, the blanket. Thank you, Daryl. Okay, so I thought tomorrow. Thank you, Daryl. So tomorrow is the blanket. I apologize. So tomorrow is the blanket. I'm hoping I get my if I don't get it, I'm just going to go over to Michael's and pick it up there. So, yes, I'm sorry, Daryl. Thank you. So what we might want to do is, so we'll do the blanket tomorrow and we'll do this on Friday. And if we kind of have a lot more questions about the blanket, maybe we can make Saturday night another blanket thing. Thank you for reminding me, or whatever we happen to be doing. So, thanks for reminding me, Daryl. I appreciate it. So let me jump into this. Oh, one more thing. We've got a joy giveaway going on, and if you want to get in on it, all you have to do is follow me on YouTube and share, like, or comment on any of the videos. And there's literally hundreds of videos. One of the things that I wanted to just kind of say is my videos are, and the whole Cricut chat idea is a lot different than some of the tutorials. I wouldn't call my show a tutorial show. I mean, I think we generally tackle something at every class or every, show, but it's more of a chatty kind of thing. And that might not be for you. But for the people that like it, they come and they watch and they learn from it. That's kind of my style of teaching. I'm not one of those tutorial kind of people, and I probably never will be. And I find it kind of boring because I like to interact with my audience. So it may not be for you. And there are a couple of people recently that said, too much talking. And I understand that. And it's just not, I can't change who I am. But this is the style, and it works for some people. It doesn't work for some people, just so that you know. So if you came here looking for a start to finish tutorial straight with no other random things put in there, then this is not the place for you to be. But if you don't mind chatting with other people and learning a few things along the way and sort of, come in, during, maybe you can't make every show, but there are people that come. Yeah. So you're here. And if there's somebody it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. So no, not going to change. So I just wanted to mention that because I got a few people that were like, just too much talking. And I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of can't stop talking. Right? I know, David. That's when I saw the thing, I said, it is called Cricut Chat. It says it right at the top of the video, Cricut Chat. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about insert cards for the Joy and the Joy card mat. And we're going to also talk about this lovely thing, which is my Sizzix machine, and I'm going to show you what that's about too. So maybe we should start off with that because it's kind of the biggest, luggiest thing of all in this edition. So, all right, so I'm going to move these over here. So there are these machines. Now, way back in the Wayback Machine, Cricut had one. It was called the Cuttlebug, and you will see it on a lot of my things. You'll see Cuttlebug listed. They had a bunch of dies, and they also had these, which are embossing folders, okay? And they came in several different sizes. Here's one that is big. I don't know if it might be more than 5 by 7. Oh, it's 5 by 7. And then these ones were smaller. I think they were A2 size. And what you would do is you would take and put whatever it is that you were using, such as this. Let's say we were going to use this one. It's called the Dandelion. And let's take it out of the folder. So you would get them like this. There's really nothing to them. They're a piece of plastic that are in, they're like a little folder, right? And I want to just show you. So this one here is called a Dandelion. And you'll see that there are 2 sides of it. So let me just put this under here so you can see it. Okay. So there are two sides to it, and some things are raised and some things are indented. You'll see there's raised, these ones are indented, and then you would take your paper, whatever paper you wanted to do, and you put the paper inside of this envelope, okay? And depending on the machine that you have, and they all sort of differ and they all have their own pluses and minuses, but depending on the machine that you have, you'd have to create what I would call a sandwich, and that is what these metal plates are for. Now, I don't have a Cricut Cuttlebug, but I do have this. It's called a Sizzix Big Shot. It's old, as I mentioned. You can see that it used to be this light blue color, and it's now faded and everything. But it's basically a manual machine. Let's go over here so you can see. It's like a manual machine. It reminds me of making pasta with my gram. And, you know, you kind of feed it in. And it's literally the same type of thing where there's rollers in there. And once you feed it in and you start turning the roller thing, it feeds it into the... maybe mine's a bit, I don't even know what mine is, but it's some sort of Sizzix machine. As you can see, it doesn't really have any branding otherwise. So depending on how thick your material is, and also on what you're putting in there, you might need one of many of these plates. So they're like spacers. And so by adding certain plates in there, it can do embossing. It can also do die cutting, depending. So here is how it works. So let's do the same thing here with that I did earlier, which is... This is like a classic beehive hedge. So I just took a sliver of material. This is 8.5 by 11 inch paper from Michaels. And I just opened up this and put my paper in there. You might want to kind of make it so that it's even. It's not super important because we can cut this down when we're done. And then with this particular one, I believe I need the A, which is the very thick one. And then these two B's, I believe that's what I need. So I am going to take and put my sandwich, my embossing folder, right, between the two B's, and the A is really the spacer, so that when I put it through, the bars can give it enough pressure to emboss. Okay, and so here we go. So this is all we do is just start rolling it through like this. A Cuttlebug works the same way. And so if you happen to have a Cuttlebug, then that's what you would do. And sometimes you might want to go through a second time. I want to make sure that it worked. Well, you can go through a second time if you want. So here, I'll do it again. So again, this is my sandwich, and it has several of these plates that's going to pull it through. And then inside of those plates, inside of that sandwich, you will put the emboss folder and the paper that you want to emboss. So this is very different than the embossing that we did yesterday. That was heat embossing. This is more like a pressure emboss. And by the way, your plates will get banged up and they'll have like little cut marks and everything. That's just sort of the name of the game. Okay, and then we open up our embossing folder, and there we have this gorgeous, look at how it turned a plain piece of paper into this wonderful embossed thing, right? And there are so many dies and what have you here, but I tend to just do my die cutting on my Cricut, but the Cricut, it does have it has a deboss, but it doesn't have an emboss. So it really can't do this. The Cricut can't do this. It could do something similar, but it wouldn't be able to deboss, okay? Oh, that's an interesting. So Shelly's telling us if you have this and your plates are warped, you can put them in hot water and it flattens out. So these plates are just plastic, and again, you know, it will differ from machine to machine, but some machines take only a small thing. Yep, and I'll rotate them. So a lot of people have experience with this, a lot more than I expected. So that's a great thing. And I love the beehive myself too. So that is called emboss. Now, the other day, oh, and by the way, before I get to the other day, what you can do is you can cut pieces out on your machine, and this is a good example of one. See, this is called gingham, but they also have one that's like this one here, it looks like a basket weave, like that. And so the other day I was doing a box card of a strawberry, like, a box of strawberries, but it was a box card from Laurie Whitlock. And I thought, I can put my pieces in there and give it this hatching, and it will look more authentic. And so what you want to consider is, you know, some people are like, well, I already have a Cricut. Do I really want this? And there are pluses to definitely doing this, and you can use your this with your Cricut. So there are lots of ideas of using this with your Cricut. Just by embossing, it changes the whole game, you know. So so there's a lot to do with this, and perhaps we can talk more about it, but you will find these embossing folders in several machines. I don't know too much about all the machines. There was one yesterday on HSN called the Gemini Mini, but somebody told me that was really frustrating to work with. I've just always had this. I did have a Cuttlebug, but my friend needed one and she couldn't find it, so I sent it to her, which it was really heavy, so it cost me an arm and a leg to mail it. Excuse me. So this is very different than the embossing that we were using yesterday. But one thing that you can do is the other day I was watching a Jennifer McGuire video, and she basically took her folder and she went into the raise. So there's an indent side and there's a raised side. Do you see that? And I believe that she did it on the raised, but I might be wrong. And then she took her embossing, remember this? The embossing pad that has that clear gel on there. And we just take and put the ink on there. And let me just go down here so I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm taking my embossing folder and then I'm going to put ink on here, okay? And I suppose you can smear it all around. And I'm doing it on the raised edge side. So you can see this is the raised edge side. I hope that there's enough on there. I can't really see it. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work, but this is what we would do. And then we would take our paper and we would run it through here. I'd have to cut it down, but we'd run it through here. And then once it does the embossing, it's also going to leave this ink, and then we can actually use the heat embossing at the same time. I'm kind of not set up to do that. not set up to do that today. So I just wanted to give you the idea. There is a great video that Jennifer McGuire did on this, and she basically used embossing and heat embossing with the same thing, and it came out really cool. It's an amazing effect. I haven't had time to try it out, but I wanted to just let you know about it. Okay, so these are all like Cuttlebug. Some of them are still for sale, but there are also other companies, Sizzix, Darice, there's all kinds of companies that sell these. These are embossing folders. This is different than a die cut. So a die cut is really what a Cricut does. And let me see if I can get one for you. Here is one. Yeah. So this is a die cut. And you'll notice that in addition to having this, like, all these raised pieces, wait, this is a good one to show you. And actually it doesn't have emboss. So this is just a die cut. So we would put a piece of paper there and we'd end up with a whole die cut of this. Now these were really expensive, and so I don't understand why people would buy these over a Cricut machine, because really, how many times are you going to make this? I don't know. Yes, and there are also dies that have foam around them, depending on when you got them. So they've come a ways. Let me see. Here's a couple more. For instance, look at this one. These ones. These are confetti. So you could put, say, your party foil, okay, in here and put it in your embossing folder, or you just in a regular folder, put your party foil on there, and then it will cut out all of these confetti pieces. So there's a lot to this, and it really, I'm never going to be able to cover it all in one go. So I just kind of wanted to touch on it because I know people have seen them and maybe just have questions about them. So a Cricut is like basically a souped up die cut machine that can do deboss and a number of other things. These machines are great, but they don't have the breadth of images. You know, you have to buy each die or each embossing folder, whereas on Cricut you just cut them out based from the library, the Cricut library. So, and yes, and this works really well with stamping. So if you're a stamper, this is something you could integrate with your stamping. Okay. So that's embossing, and I wanted to cover that. But I wanted to also just kind of pivot, switch gears, and talk about these things, which are insert cards. And you guys know, I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, that Cricut folks have come out with 3 different sized insert cards, and they are slightly different in size. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about that and how you can make your own, as long as you follow the size needed. Okay, so this is the original insert card size. It's called an A2. And it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now this is the one we all learned the card mat from. And what you'd get in this was you'd get envelopes, you'd get your cards, and in this case, they're black. And then we got these really kind of funky, holographic, which this is a beautiful set. I'm not going to discourage you from buying them, but if you have something like, I don't know, a campaign. One of my friends is running for a local office, and she asked me, could you make 100 of thank you cards? And I said, yeah, I can make 100. I don't think that I would buy it like 10 packs of this. I think I probably would just make it from my own from my own stock of paper because I have a lot of paper. So I wanted to talk to you about how you can make your own insert cards and also the inserts themselves, okay? So which is what I did here. I actually used the insert card that came in the box, but I used this holographic paper that I just got from Michael's last week. See that? It's the same as the holographic paper that was coming in a lot of these insert cards, and people were looking for it. Well, Michael's has delivered, and they have, let me grab it. They have come out with this. It is a brand new, and it's holographic paper. And it's nice. It's not terribly thick. It's got kind of a craft on the back. And there's also all of these new foils. So here is a foil that is, what's it called? Jewel Tone. And this one is called Pastels. And these are all available at Michael's or Michael's Online. And you can go there and find them, and these will make excellent insert cards, and they also work great on your Cricut, because Michael's paper, which is what I always recommend for die cutting, it's a great paper. It's easily accessible, and it's not that expensive. So usually a pack like this would cost about $5.99, and that's in the US. Canada might be higher, but this often goes on sale, and sometimes you can find them for $10. And these foils and the holographic are included in that price. So we've got, say, if you wanted to pick up these to make the insert cards, you could certainly do that, and it would save you a lot of money. So for the example of my girlfriend who wants me to make the 100 cards, I can use this stuff or the basic color ones for the insert card or for the inserts. Okay, so here are the inserts, and all these are just cut cardstock, you see, and so you can make your own inserts, which is exactly what I did here, and I want to show you how I did that. Let me grab my trusty cutter, my trimmer. I love this thing. It's very low tech, but it works, and that's why I love it. So we're just going to be working on the middle-sized cards first, just so you can sort of get the hang of this, and then we can branch out to another, to the other sizes, the smaller or the larger sizes. But I wanted to just talk about this middle size. So this middle size is called A2, which means folded, the card is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Okay. Very interestingly, if you, cut this in a certain way, you will get 2 insert cards from one piece of 8.5 by 11 inch paper. Because if you look at the number, see, it says 4 1/4. So what's double 4 1/4? It is 8.5. And what's double 5.5? It's 11. So there is your 8.5 by 11. So what you want to do is, with a personal trimmer, don't try to do this with scissors, because it will end up being all like wrong. And so you want something like a personal trimmer. You don't have to have a Cricut one, but you need something like this that has a ruler. And we're going to put it into our trimmer, and putting it in this way, the long way, on the side, or horizontal, if you want to call it that. And we're going to go to the 5.5 inch mark on here. You see that 5.5 inch mark, and then it is flush with the top. That's so that it will be straight when it cuts. And then we just take this little thing and we push it up and down, and then we have 2 exact pieces of cardstock. Isn't that great? And also, This, if you just fold it, which you can also score on your trimmer, but I don't often do that, but I will show you how I do it, which is I just score it in half, and then I can take this and put it into my mat, just like this, and it will cut and show up on this line, you see? So if you're curious about like what the sizes of the 3 different ones are, here is what you'll get. Now the insert part of it, I wonder if they're cleaning the streets today. I hear some interesting noise. Okay, so the insert part is slightly smaller, and you can see the size right here. So the cards are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but the inserts are 4 by 5 1/4. They have to be smaller to fit inside the back of the card, you see? And so let's take a piece of our holographic paper. Let's do that. And the first thing that we're going to do is, well, that bell sound is really bothering me, but that's okay. Is we're going to cut this at the 4-inch mark, okay? We'll actually get 2 rows at the 4-inch mark like this with a little strip of paper that you want to keep for your scrapping, okay? So now we have these 2 rows, exact size of 4 inches, and we are going to then cut it at 5 1/4. And again, you'll have a little strip left over. Keep that for your scrapping. And from one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11, you are going to get 5 1/4. You're going to get 4 squares, 4 inserts for your insert card. So as a rule of thumb, from one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11, you'll get 2 cards, but from one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11, you'll get 4 inserts. So you need twice as many of the paper for the insert cards than you do for the inserts themselves, if you're planning for like an event or whatever. So that's all this is. It's cut just like this, and then we can just put it in here when we're done cutting on the machine. And the other thing to consider is you don't just have to use plain insert cards. And this is hardly plain, but what I mean is that there are all kinds of things that you can use, such as acetate. In this case, you can use glitter. You can even use this stuff that you embossed, as long as it's going to be the right size. So it doesn't go with the theme of this card, but there might be another card that we could do it on. So let us cut at, I hope that this is 4. Yep, let us cut at 5 1/4. And then at 4. And this is the insert. So pretend like we made something that had chickens or bees or something like that, and you could put this in here, and what you'll see peeking out is some of the emboss. Now this emboss is pretty big, but there are some that has like really very tight things here, and that will work here. It will work, okay? The other thing to consider is if you want to use acetate, you can actually layer the insert cards and put 2 pieces on there and have the insert card, okay? So let's just to kind of like, just to kind of go along with this idea, let's do a card using an insert card that we cut ourselves using my iPad and my Cricut Joy. So here's my iPad, and you do not need an iPad to work the Joy. You can use a regular computer. You can use a mobile device, even a Samsung mobile device or an iPhone. But what you're going to do, let's go back home, is you're going to make sure that this is logged in where your machine says Joy. Your machine selection says Joy. And the reason behind that is that you will not see all of these cards. And these are just in the card section, but you can see there's hundreds and hundreds of cards that you can choose. Like for, let's choose something like, look at this. It's a unicorn. It's just a unicorn card. So cute. It has some writing on it. It's going to have cutouts, and it's going to take me just a few minutes to do. Pardon me. So what we're going to hit is make it on this design. And you will see this is how it's going to look on our card mat. Now, I'm surprised that this one doesn't ask me the size of the card. I'm going to have to talk to Cricut about that because that seems a little odd. But this is set up for the regular medium size, okay? And then I want to make sure, so I'm going back to my settings, and I'm going to make sure that my Joy is connected, which it is, via Bluetooth. And then all I have to do is pick the paper and get my mat ready and hit continue. Now, because this is a unicorn, I kind of like the blue. We'll probably put the holographic paper in there. And then for the pen, I think it would be kind of fun to do a metallic and maybe a purple metallic. So here is a purple metallic pen. So we're going to use that. We have to pick our material, which we're going to choose insert card. You see that? Now I'm going to move my machine over so you can see what I'm doing here. Well, of course, I got this other thing in the way. Oh, I did not plan this well. I apologize. But here's my machine. And it did unplug. All right. All right, let's see if it's going to, there's an error. So I got a message saying that it was an error communicating with my machine. So I'm just going to go back and make sure my Bluetooth is connected, and it is. And then I'm going back here and I'm going to choose continue. Got to do that again. So we're going to do maybe this purple with the blue cardstock and holographic. Choose insert card. And it's telling me that I need to insert my pen first. Okay, so it always does writing before it does the cutting. So this is my Joy. I'm just going to open up this clamp. It's very easy. And take out this, which is the needle. And I'm going to take the pen, put the cap on the back, and just pop it in right there, close the clamp, and we're ready to go. I'm going to just run it through underneath these guides, and the machine will take it in and kind of give it a little 1-2, like assessing, right? And then we will hit go. Once it's done with the writing, it will prompt me to put this back into it. So I'm getting the question, can these be done on the Maker? If you fiddle with it, you can use this card mat on the Maker or the Explorer. I have never done that because I feel like this is one of many things that the Joy does that I really like, that I really would rather not jerry-rig to do on my machine. But if you only own one machine and you want to make these types of cards, you could try using the card mat. What people have told me is that they've put the card mat into or on a regular mat and then run it through that way. Otherwise, there are a lot of similar cards. They're not insert cards, but they're called quick cut cards that you can do on your regular machine. And I've given people lots of those. I can always give you more. So if you need to see that, they're called quick cut cards. And I've published like groups of, I don't know, dozens actually. So I will do that. Can I show you how to write inside? Yeah, we can do that. So let's go ahead and finish this up. So we are going to hit it. It's going to do, look at how cute it looks already. And somebody has requested about how to do the inside of the card. So let's talk about that. So the way this is set up right now, you can't combine the insert as part of the insert card making. However, you can do an insert, do a sentiment on the inside, and it will work. But we're going to just basically open up the card mat and get a sentiment and put it on there. It's just not part of the original plan, okay? So, so in this case, it's almost done. Let's get it done, and we'll go back to the iPad, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, it's done. So I need to unload it, which I'm doing here, and let's move my Joy over for right now. So here is my completed insert card coming off the mat. Be careful when you're pulling it off, especially if your mat is new. These mats tend to lose their stick quite easily, and so what you might want to consider is resticking them and also washing them. So you can wash them with hot soapy water after you remove these little pieces, and you could actually save this. If you like unicorns, you could save it. So you're going to clean it off, and then if after a couple dozen times using it, it starts to lose the stick, washing does help. And then if you want to restick, you can use something called two-way glue. This is what I recommend. It's Zig Memory System two-way glue, and it's a dual action. So when you put it on your mat, you have to allow it to dry so it becomes sticky. All right, and I will put a link for this in the description of the video once I'm done. Okay. Masking tape also, Renee is saying I use masking tape. You can also use masking tape, and you can buy masking tape in a small roll, and I have used that as well. One of the things that is hard is that with paper, the masking tape, might cause a problem with getting it off. Maybe not because it's low tack, but masking tape is great for putting vinyl on the mat. If you're not using the smart vinyl, it's great for adhering the vinyl on the mat, particularly like glitter iron-on, which is like the thickest thing in the world to cut. So, all right, let's put this here, and you can see what the finished product looks like. And then let's talk inserts. Not inserts. Let's talk sentiments, okay? So you can create your own sentiment, but there are indeed a lot of sentiments that are pre-done. Here you go. There's the insert card. Now, if you are kind of fussy about these pieces, you could also dot a little glue on the back side so that it would stick here if that's going to bother you, which it would. Okay, it would me. So, and then this is what it looks like on the inside. So we're talking about this area right here, which is the sentiment. And what we need to do is we need to go back to the canvas. Now, this is something that I was playing with the other day, so I'm going to make sure I save it. these were stickers that I wanted to make with that new sticker paper. The cardstock, sticker cardstock it's called, okay? So what I would recommend is you start from scratch, get a new project going. You have a blank canvas, and you're going to insert, there's two ways to do it. You can insert some text and whatever the text you want it to be. So if this was something you wanted, it was special, and you wanted to do some, hi, Molly, so nice to, see you the other day, blah, blah, blah. You can do that by typing in and doing insert font. But for me, I like the old-fashioned card where it has a sentiment in there, and then I go back with my pen and I write something personal. So what I have done is I go to images, and there are a couple of places that you can go and look for sentiments. And the first one is trending under phrases and sentiments. If you go on there, you will see that there are subcategories. Okay, see these subcategories, and this is what it says: card phrases, one word, phrases simply stated. So let's choose card phrases. I don't know if that's going to be sentiments, but yeah, maybe. So there are all kinds of things, and we're going to choose something that is using a pen. Okay, so let's see if we can't find something that's using a pen. And then what's this? Mamacita needs a margarita. So let's see. Every mom is a queen. No, my squad. This is not really what we're looking for. I was kind of looking for something like happy something or unicorn. Let's try unicorn. And I'm doing that in that subcategory of card phrases. So there's nothing there. So what we can do is go back to all images, type in unicorn, and see what we get. We can also filter this if we wanted to. We can filter it by, I think it is operation type. Here we go. Under operation type, we choose draw only, and we say done. And it's going to filter out just the drawn images for unicorns. But we don't want to do that, so we want to take that away and just search for unicorn. Maybe there's some saying that we could use, like, I'm a unicorn. Trust me, I'm a unicorn. Something like this. And that it would look like a sentiment or something. So, you guys, I'm just sort of doing this first myself. So it's not like I planned this. And so it might take me a few seconds to find what I'm looking for. So here are some nice drawn images of unicorn. Here, this one says magical unicorn wishes. Now this here, which I really love, it's a sparkle like a unicorn, is actually a cut file. And I can tell because when it's a drawn, it's a lighter sort of a thinner, lighter color. So here's an example. This is a drawn over a cut file. This is a cut file, and there is the opposite, like the negative image of this one. You see how that works? So what we can do is just choose something. All right, look at this one. Now, this is something I uploaded. It says, always be yourself. Unless you can be a unicorn, then always be a unicorn. So let's pull those two in, and I'll show you what we're doing with them. So this one here is something you're going to find on Design Space. We do need to make sure that it's going to fit on the inside of our card, but also this right here is a cut file. So let's go here to actions, and we're going to first do a couple of things. Actually, I'm going to go to edit, sorry. So you can see, it says cut with a question mark, and we need to change this to draw. We do that by hitting that cut, and we choose draw, and you can choose whatever you want for a pen. Let's choose that. So now what I have is I have this Sparkle Like a Unicorn, and it's all done in pen, and I'm going to choose my own pen. But do note that it is like a bubble letter. Now, people have asked me about bubble letters, like, isn't there a font that can fill that in? And the short answer is no. There are some fonts that are called like sketch fonts that will fill those in. But the way that I have done it is I've had the machine do the outline, and then I've gone back with the pen and filled it in myself. Because to change it, you'd have to actually change the entire image, and I don't want to do that. The same thing is with this. This is originally a cut file. It's always be yourself unless you can be a unicorn. So if I change this to, again, I'm going to show you again, just change it to draw, and I'll choose glitter. No, let's choose marker, violet, apply. So here is my sentiment. Now you notice that the sentiment is sort of floating along. And so this is how it's going to work for you. You do not want to put a card in the back of this because we don't want to actually cut anything out. We only want to write inside of the card as a sentiment. Now we do need to make sure that the image is the right size. And remember, the size of this card is 5.5 by 4.25. So I need to make sure that my image is the right size. So something maybe around 4 inches high, this would work. Okay. Now, this one here, let's see, this one maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. So this is what we have here. This one is 4.5 inches by 4 inches high. And then this one is 3, and actually this might not work. The width is too wide. So I need to make this smaller because we need it to be 4, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, so we want it to be on the inside. And so it needs to be able to fit at 4, maybe a little less than 4. All right. Okay. And then this one's already set up to be a little less than 4. Again, no card here. Okay. We already made our card, and now we're simply going to write on the inside of it. So when I hit make it, we're going to choose on the card mat, you see, and here we go. So I don't actually want to do both of these in the same, on the same card. So I am going to hide, and actually I think I'll go back to the canvas and I'll just hide this whole thing. So let me just hit layers and hide, and we'll just do the Sparkle Like a Unicorn, okay? So we're doing it on the card mat, and see this square around it that's in red? That's the indication on the mat, okay? So we're going to take our card, and you can do this before or after you cut out the insert card, and you don't have to keep that in there, but I will. And then we're going to open it up. We're going to put the front of the card underneath, like this. Make sure you press it down so that it's in there. And we're going to say, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Maybe I want it to be higher. Let me see. It's not letting me do that for right now. So we'll talk about that in a second. And I'm going to hit continue. I have to pick a material even though it doesn't matter because there's no cutouts here. And you will see it says load my pen. So I'm going to press that in. I'm going to take my cute metallic marker in purple, pop that into the machine, and then I am going to hit go. And it will do the sentiment on the inside of my card. Again, you can refine this. I'm just sort of doing this by the seat of my pants because somebody asked me, and maybe I want to change or do a different sentiment, or I want to use a different pen or whatever. But this is basically how you're going to do it if you want. If you want to have a sentiment on the inside. I would, if you're kind of new and you're new to making sentiments and stuff, I would rather you choose an image and have it draw than doing your own text. Doing your own text can be a little bit challenging. It can be done, but it can be a little bit challenging. So maybe if you're just getting started with this, no, you don't. You could do that. So Brittany's saying, I always thought I would have to cut a new piece of paper and glue it to the inside of the card. You could do that, but this way you can have it on your original card. And I think that's kind of better, right? So it's almost done, and when it's done, it's going to ask me, to unload, and I will do that, and you can have a look at it. It's really kind of cute. I'm looking at it as it's going. Oop. So for right now, from what I understand, we aren't able to, this is a workaround because we aren't able to get the insert cards on our mat. So look, sparkle like a unicorn. Now I probably could have, like, as I said, this was just a test thing. I would have made it maybe smaller and a little bit higher up on the paper. But then I have this wonderful card that I just made in a few minutes without any prior thought. If I wanted to, I could also come back and fill in these bubble lines like this, these bubble things. If I don't want to do that, I don't have to do that, but I think it would look actually cute because it's kind of a metallic thing. It would look cute. And that's it. Right? Isn't that amazing? The Joy is really quite an amazing little machine and can do a lot. You just have to work within the parameters of the actual machine. So Susan's saying she wishes it could do foiling, print and cut, and score. So let me just say that in the future, it may be able to do, I don't know anything for a fact, but it may be able to do foiling and scoring, but it will never be able to do print and cut. And the reason behind that is the Joy has no sensor. So if you look at your larger machine and you say, well, I want to make stickers and I want to do print and cut stickers, do not buy a Joy. Buy a larger machine because they have these sensors that allow you to cut using the machine, and otherwise you'd have to be cutting them all out by hand, and it's going to be a mess. So the Joy will never, ever be able to do print and cut. It could possibly do foiling and scoring in the future. I think that they're very responsive. Cricut folks are very responsive. And I know that I have reported to them several times that in addition to wanting to have, say, an intricate cut setting for the Joy, which I know that Annette's very keen on getting. Other people have also requested that and also have requested foil and scoring. I don't see why scoring would be an issue. It would just need to create a scoring stylus that was smaller, right? And then foiling would just be, it's just the size of the actual thing. Because look here, this is your blade in a housing, and it's about 33%, something like that, like a third smaller than the regular blade and housing. And the same thing for the pens. So they're all they're miniaturized kind of thing. So I would, Susan, I would keep your hopes up and maybe think maybe those things would be coming, but definitely not print and cut, I'm sorry to say. Oh, really? I actually, once I start, so someone's saying they would like a load and unload button on the actual machine. And I actually kind of like that you do it on the iPad. Like, I don't know if this is me, but like reaching over and I like that it's all sort of compact and everything. So anyway, so folks, we're hitting the top of the hour, and I wanted to show you today about insert cards, how you can make your own. And I didn't plan on this, but we did show you the inside. We also talked about embossing, and we did a little embossing here. And so we have lots of ideas here. Okay. So I hope that you can take some of them and sort of jump off. That's what I'm trying to do, is get you excited about coming up with your own ideas and making the Cricut work for you. And so you can express your personal creativity, whatever that might be. All right. Thanks everybody for coming today, and I will see you again tomorrow. I will be going to Michael's picking up my yarn. If I don't get it today, I will rush over there and pick up the yarn so that we will be doing our chunky blanket tomorrow. If you hadn't heard that, if you missed earlier in the week, I'm going to be teaching a class about how to do the chunky blanket. We're using the Bernat blanket big chenille yarn. You need 4 balls of it. That's all you need. Well, I don't want to say all you need, because you need some space. Like you need a nice flat surface. So you just need your hands, 4 balls of this big yarn, and just some space to sort of, you can't be in a cramped little space. Okay. So we'll see you again tomorrow when we do that. All right. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Get some crafting in. Okay. Take care. Thanks, Diane. Bye, everyone.